there's a point in life at which a boy must, and you know, you hear me say this all the time, it's absolutely necessary to a man's development to become a man, to sever his relationship with his mother. Now, don't hear me wrongly. I didn't say not have a relationship with his mother, but he needs to sever the child-mother, the child-parent relationship so that it becomes two adults, right, on equal standing. Very hard for the mother, of course, and often very hard for the young man, but absolutely necessary to his development as a young man. He needs to feel that he is on his own, that if he's threatened in any way, he's going to have to deal with it. If he makes a mistake, he's going to have to deal with it. In other words, he needs to know that his mom is not going to come to his rescue and give him guidance and all that stuff unless he asks for it. If he asks for it, that's another thing. If he says, Mom, I really screwed up, I made a big mistake, what should I do? That's asking for advice. Then you could say, you can give him your advice.
He did, and he decided to come back to our own city to study here for second year. But it's just like the whole thing was really, I feel maybe I should have not let him go. Maybe
No, you should have absolutely let him go. It's absolutely essential that men go out and make their mistakes and pay for them. I know that's so hard for people to hear. It's so, you're so adverse to this in the Persian culture. Let men go make their mistakes and pay the price of those mistakes. If you don't, you will have a mama's boy at the age 40 who will only be able to have a relationship with a woman who is willing to mother him. So he'll never have a relationship with a peer, with an equal, with somebody who is at his level or better. He'll always have a relationship with somebody who will mother him and take care of him, which is the basis of what I'm talking about in my show today, addictive systems. It's the basis of codependent relationships. You see, when he's a child, he is dependent upon you. He can't eat, protect himself, clothe himself, do any of the stuff that a person needs to do because he is inadequate. He's a child and he's inadequate, so he is dependent in a very, very real way. Now, there comes a point where that's no longer true, and yet mothers tend to want to keep that relationship just like it is and call him my son and instead of his name, right? Like you would call any other man. Right? There's a point at which he's a man, and you must allow him, grant him his manhood. And if he goes out and makes a mistake, say, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to deal with it? And if his only answer is, Mommy, give me some money and take me back into your house and pay for my car and my insurance and my cell phone and my education and feed me and cook me breakfast and clean my room and you know, do my laundry, if that's his answer to his problem, then I'm sorry, you've just created a very, very bad relationship, not only for him, but for any woman he'll ever be in relationship with and their children.
No, but it was his decision. I respected his...
Well, yeah, but you should have said no.
Not to come back?
Yeah, I would say, look, deal with your problems, and if you want to come back, get your own apartment or something like that, but, you know, you're a man now, and you should go live live like a man. And quit making stupid mistakes because you're going to end up in jail.
That he gets into the bigger problem. That was my fear.
Okay, well, what happened that he thinks it's okay to do illegal stuff? Where did he get that idea?
I guess he didn't even get the money from it. It's just, this was a bad joke at school, 3 or 4.
Yeah, a bad joke at school, but if they hadn't gotten caught, somebody would be out a few hundred, if not $1,000 worth of computers, right?
No doubt, but I'm just saying that I was...
And who would have benefited from those people having lost that? Somebody would have benefited from it, somebody would have lost, and somebody else would have benefited.
Right.
Okay, so, you know, we can all smooth it over and with Twinkie talk. You know, I call it Twinkie talk because it's like soft and mushy and it's cream filled, right? It's soft talk, like, oh, it was just a joke. We were only kidding. No, you weren't. You were stealing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crime.
Mm-hmm. But it's so unlike him. Like, it's.
I believe that.
It's that, then we thought maybe like a camera that is exposed too well. Maybe we put him too early in an environment.
But you didn't. He just didn't handle that environment very well. And listen, it's not your fault, but as parents, most parents are not preparing their children to be adults. They're preparing their children to keep being children. We have children that are in their 30s now, 20s and 30s, and they still live with their parents. They talk like kids. They act like kids. They do childish, silly things, and if they were left on their own to be responsible, they would handle it very badly. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They would handle it like a child. You know this, and I know that. You see them everywhere, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're driving around in their cars, causing accidents and talking on the phone and texting, and they're totally irresponsible. Now, I can gripe about that, or I can actually try to do something about it, but part of what I'm doing about it is these shows, and I do workshops for men called Honor, Integrity, and Mastery. And the greatest beneficiaries of the people the men that go to my workshops are the women and children and mothers and fathers around them who write to me and call and tell me, oh my God, what did you do with my husband? What did you do with my son? They're completely transformed. They become responsible, powerful, and very independent thinking young men who have society's and people's best interests at heart. Now, I don't give them that. They come with that. They just don't know it yet. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Men have this in them, and in the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery workshop, we actually peel back the layers of irresponsibility and childishness that have been, laid on there by society, and what's always there, ma'am, is a man that has honor, that has integrity, and wants more than anything to be the best man that he could be for his families, for the women that he hopes to meet and deserve to have relationships with, and for the society and the business that he's involved in, whatever that may be. But every man has a dream, and every man has an honorable and noble soul within him, and we've responded to our environment in different ways. Your son responded in a dishonorable way to some input by his friends, yes? His friend says, hey, let's go steal some computers, and he goes, okay. He went along with it instead of saying, hey, wait a minute, you guys, that's not good. No, I'm not going to be involved in it, and I don't want you to be either.
Yeah, because they were thinking if I would be a girl, if I'm not doing that, I was sort of like...
Yeah, but being a girl, that's being a man. Being a man means standing up to your friends and saying, look, what you're doing is not okay with me, and I'm not going to allow it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stop you guys from doing it, and you can deal with me any way you want. Mm-hmm. I know who I am. I'm a man, and I don't want to have any part of this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know that. It's just...
But he didn't learn that at your house. Mm-hmm. He did not learn that from you, and he did not learn that from his father, and that's who he was supposed to learn it from. Okay, so that's a lesson for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, he didn't learn that from you. Now, where else was he supposed to learn that? Boy Scouts? Now, for people that don't learn these things in childhood, before they leave home and try to become a man, they end up learning it from the police. Mm-hmm. Or they learn it from some other gang member or somebody who whips them into order, some other alpha leader type person who may be on the wrong side of the law. Mm-hmm. Or may be on the wrong side of the ethical and moral standards of society. Men that are not raised by older, wiser men and initiated into manhood by older, wiser men are raised and initiated by their peers, and their peers are raised and initiated by their peers. So who's raising men to be boys to be men is more boys. Just bunch of boys. And you and I know that all of the laws of society, I won't say all of the laws, but I'm going to say more than 90% of the laws of society are directed at keeping women and children safe from aggressive, socially and sexually aggressive, young men. We're not so worried about married men. Married men who are husbands and fathers tend to self-regulate. They tend to. It doesn't mean they do, but they tend to. Young, unmarried men tend to be aggressive. They tend to be violent. They tend to have a lower ethical and moral standard. And so if you haven't raised your son to have high moral and ethical standards, and at the very minimum, don't break the law, then somebody else will teach them their version. Can you understand that? So sending him to college or not sending him to college is not the answer in another town. And certainly taking him home and coddling him and treating him like a child by taking care of all of his business for him, that's not going to help him either. So I hope this has helped. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and take this other